Hello, good evening and welcome to News 360 live from our studio here at Desawe in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu Date.
And I'm Maisha Yakubu Khalid. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint
and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Director of Operations of Ghana Police Service, George Alex Mensah, says tape of a conversation with former Northern Regional New Patriotic Party Chairman Chief Bugri Nabu is doctored.
Also coming up tonight, minority in Parliament calls for prosecution of Bank of Ghana governor over allegations of mismanagement.
Office of Special Prosecutor says it disagrees with ruling ordering it to return seized property of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah within 7 days.
And later in business, Cocoa Processing Company pursues Afrexim Bank loan to revive its fortunes.
Elsewhere around the world, 12 children among more than 70 people killed after fire outbreak in South Africa's city of Johannesburg.
We're also streaming live on our website, 3news.com, and on Facebook. Be a part of the show. Let's know what your thoughts are on the many stories we have for you tonight.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor says it disagrees with an Accra High Court's ruling on the seizure and freeze of Cecilia Dapaah's assets and money. According to the OSP, it froze the assets of the former Sanitation Minister based on reasonable suspicion that her amounts and bank balances were tainted property and not a decision taken out of public sentiment. It adds that the court's computation of time is erroneous because it will still search the residences of Cecilia Dapaah's part of the time it filed the application for a freeze of her assets and money. The special prosecutor in a statement said the freezing order was meant to aid the ongoing investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences involving Madame Dapaah. Meanwhile, it says necessary steps will be taken to ensure the seized amounts and balances in Cecilia Dapaah's bank accounts are neither concealed, lost, nor dissipated.
All right, so a number of issues have come up as a result of the court order and the subsequent reaction by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, who say they disagree with what the court, the Accra High Court, said. So let's take you through some of the key highlights of some of the comments. So on the issue of the freeze of Cecilia Dapaah's assets and her money, the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it disagrees with the decision of the court. Again, it says that the court's computation of time limitation is erroneous. The freezing order was based on reasonable suspicion, and then also the freeze of assets was clearly not based on the public sentiments as mentioned by the court. And in conclusion, the special prosecutor says that the seized amounts and balances will not be concealed or lost. So that's the reaction coming from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. They've also gone on to say that they will still continue to investigate the subject of Cecilia Dapaah, which is in court as we speak.
Earlier, Accra High Court had dismissed the application for asset seizure and bank account freezing of former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Justice Edward Chum had ordered the Office of the Special Prosecutor to return the recovered funds to Cecilia Dapaah.
In his ruling, Justice Chum held that the Office of the Special Prosecutor breached the Special Prosecutor Act 2017 Act 959 when he filed the application to confirm the seizure of assets and freeze of accounts after 14 days. The court also noted that the OSP was in doubt of the true ownership of the alleged tainted property found in Cecilia Dapaah's house and hence failed to convince the court that the alleged tainted properties were used in connection with corruption-related activities. The presiding judge questioned the special prosecutor on how he arrived at the conclusion that the said properties had been tainted. He described the application as premature, one born out of reaction to public sentiments and without justifiable legal basis. The court therefore ordered the OSP to return the confiscated $590,000 and 2.73 million cedis to the former minister within 7 days. On the freeze of Cecilia Dapaah's bank accounts, the court ruled that the special prosecutor was unable to provide proof that the former minister used the accounts to propagate criminal offences. Lodi Dwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's go on to the phone lines now. We have been joined by Martin Pibu. He is a private legal practitioner. Counsel, good evening and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening, Martin.
I believe you have read portions of the ruling by the judge and the response or reaction from the OSP. What do you make of it?
You see, it's a mixed bag case. There are two applications put in one. One for the confirmation of the seizure order, or confirmation of the seizure that the OSP made. That's the seizure of the $590,000 found in her house and $2.7 million on one hand, and freezing of the accounts. That's the accounts, some of which were said to have volumes of $5 million and then volumes of transaction of $48 million. It's a mixed bag because I support the judge in the decision to throw out the this an application for freezing of the accounts, because the OSP, for inexplicable reasons, was not willing to tell the judge how much was in the account. How? Why does the OSP think he alone should know what is the account? If to say they have been made an elementary mistake there. You know, I support him. I always support him 200%. Yes, I've always supported him. But this one, yeah, the way he did it, it's sad. When ABAJ's case came, the accounts were disclosed. So what is to say they have been hiding in this case? What is he hiding? So that one, you can't fault the judge for not freezing those accounts. You can't just go and tell the judge that I'm investigating X, Y, Z on corruption and corruption-related offenses, and so freeze his account. How much is inside? How much is inside the account? What has gone through the account? Look, if you don't want the public to see, then maybe you can make an application under Article 135 of the Constitution. It's the Supreme Court that will determine such an application. That's the information you have, you don't want us to see. So it will be done in camera if you check Article 135 of the Constitution. But that one, it means that the High Court judge has to refer to the Supreme Court. Yes, that's due process. If you think the privacy of Cecilia Dapaah's account is very, very paramount, and it's true, you never know, maybe tomorrow it could be me, tomorrow Martin, it could be you. If that's the principle, I don't mind if you do it right. But you don't refuse to tell the judge what is in there. You don't. That was very risky. He gambled and he's lost. You can't just go and tell the judge, I think this is no. No. Well, but the one about the seizure, I think the judge should have done something to help the OSP. I think that one, he should have done something to help the OSP, because when you look at the timeline, so Mr. Kisio Jabin should have gone there within 7 days, and he did it, and he's saying the same. Because it becomes a contentious matter, he did it, he didn't. The judge should have looked at it and done it, granted it, because even for them as judges, sometimes the timelines are extended. Yes, they are given timelines to bring judgment, but if they don't bring it, the Supreme Court has ruled that a judgment given outside the statutory period is not valid. So if even in the court, the Supreme Court is realized that sometimes judges, their caseload is so much, and so they are not able to keep the timelines in judgment. Why is it that the judge cannot do that for the OSP as well?
Counsel, thank you as always. Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner.
In other news this evening, President Akufo-Addo has sworn in a 5-member emoluments committee to determine the emoluments and privileges of Article 71 office holders. The committee is chaired by Dr. Janet Fofie, a former chairperson of the Public Services Commission.
I think it may be worth our while to examine the practice of other jurisdictions, for example, the American one, where the principles are established and automatically adjusted according to certain objective criteria. This may well be an issue for further constitutional debate and decision. I must indicate that in recent times, a lot of public discourse surrounding the remuneration of public officers has centered primarily on those of Article 71 office holders, and whether or not, notwithstanding the constitutional imperatives, we are deserving of what is being paid to us in view of the challenges currently confronting our national economy. It might well be that your work should also focus on these concerns and make recommendations on how they should be addressed. The task ahead of you is a challenging one, and it is my expectation and hope that you'll be up to it and deliver your report expeditiously. You have my full support to undertake this assignment, and I assure you of government's assistance if needed throughout the period of your work. I wish you God's guidance and the best of luck.
All right, so let's stay on this. Clearly, a number of you have already been reacting to the news of this committee and what is expected of them in terms of their mandate. But which category of individuals or people make up the Article 71 position? So we know that Article 71 of the 1992 Constitution mandates the President to set up an emoluments committee to determine what is to be paid to the categories of officers covered under the provision of the Constitution. So the emoluments of Article 71 office holders constitute expenditures charged to the consolidated fund, and the emoluments are determined based on the recommendations of the 5-member committee, for instance, that has just been put together by the President. The payments every 4 years have generated a lot of public outcry over the years. For instance, in 2024, I beg your pardon, the 2024 NDC flag bearer, that is former President John Dramani Mahama, is saying that if he does win the elections, he will initiate the necessary constitutional steps towards removing or scrapping these emoluments for Article 71 office holders. Let's go to Zoom now and speak to Mr. Austin Game, who is a labor expert and consultant. Good evening, sir, and thank you for your time.
Good evening, my friend. How are you?
Very well, thank you. To start with, what are your initial reactions to the public disaffection when it has to do with the allowances and emoluments of Article 71 office holders?
Thank you. Well, I'm not part of the problem, so I don't have a reaction, but I have a view I can express if you so wish.
Kindly go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Well, the issue is that the public's concern is now loud and clear, as alluded to by His Excellency the President himself as well. The reality is that we have, over the years, since 1996, thereabouts, I think we have gained tremendous experience as to what the issues, the concerns of the public, who the paymasters of these people are all about. Since it's not government who directly pays, and it's the people who pay, I think it's only appropriate that we listen to them and take pragmatic steps to do the necessary reforms. And it's about time it should be done. Like you hinted in your intro, the former president stated that should he get the opportunity, he will do something about it. The president in inaugurating the committee says that they should do something about it. So it's time, and we have to do it, and it's now.
Right. We also know that these specific group of persons who fit into the category, Article 71 category, already take salaries. Some take allowances, normally based on the previous committee's recommendations. The challenge many have is with whether or not they are deserving of any increment or otherwise. Are these justified concerns about whether they deserve these increments or not?
Well, I'm a salary administration person, so let me feel free to tell you what is appropriate. You may decide to introduce a spot pay mechanism for particularly the members of parliament who are virtually on a kind of contract for service for 4 years. Ministers of state are not even on contract for service for 4 years. They are on a contract at the pleasure of the president and some other office holders. Therefore, those categories of people who are on that kind of contract and not work for life, those who are on work for life and are on the Article 71, the state will have to decide as to where we want to place them. But let's assume for once that we are talking about members of parliament, ministers of state, and those who are holding office with and working with His Excellency the President. Therefore, for 4 years, they are working on contract for service. Now, if you are working on contract for service, you can be paid a spot pay. Spot pay means your pay will be determined as though the 4 years, if it's going to be 30,000 cedis, it is 30,000 cedis on which your social security should be paid, your second tier should be paid, and perhaps we will have to introduce a proper provident fund system as a way of funding ahead of time when they are leaving. So we don't need to have this type of committee in place to determine that. So reforms, far-reaching reforms will have to be made to accommodate this kind of concerns by the public and in the public interest as well.
Right. And finally, if you have already taken, for instance, you are an MP and you've taken these emoluments, should you still be taking it again if after the 4 years you come back to Parliament, or so far as you've taken it, that should be it?
See, they are on contract for service. Because they are on contract for service, your main original employer is your constituents. They're giving you a task. If they think you haven't performed the task to their satisfaction, they will replace you. And when they replace you, you have become unemployed. That is why they are being paid what they are being paid. Right. But we as a nation have over the years made tremendous mistakes by way of not putting together the committee on schedule, and we wait till last minute like this one, and then 1 year to the time before they determine their pay, which is supposed to be annual. Right. Like I said, there are two ways. Either you are determining it early, annually, so they don't wait when last minute they are going. When their pay is now put together, the back pay is paid as though it is part of the ex gratia, which is, I think, is wrong. So if you're going to pay them a spot pay or give them a way of every year we increase their pay, then let's discuss that and come to agreement. Unfortunately, we are not doing the right thing. I hope this committee would learn some lessons from the past.
Thank you so much for your time and thoughts as always. Austin Gama, a labor consultant and expert.
And now one of the police officers at the center of the alleged plot to oust the IGP, COP George Alex Mensah, has cast doubt over the authenticity of the leaked audio tape under probe by the 7-member bipartisan committee. He told the committee that even though he had discussions with Chief Bugri Nabu, the audio tape in the public domain is doctored. The content of the tape was authenticated by the first witness, Bugri Nabu, on Monday. Duke Mensah Poku was at the sitting and reports.
The parliamentary committee probing the alleged tape, audio tape, plotting to oust the IGP, Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, entered day 2 of its hearings today in Parliament House. Now, 3 principal characters in the shape of police officers, COP George Alex Mensah, Superintendent George Asare, and Superintendent Emmanuel JB, appeared before the committee. Even before the committee could begin its probing, lawyers for COP George Alex Mensah indicated strongly that they had some reservations and objections to put across to the committee. They indicated that they had issues with the time frame within which the invitation was made. They had issues with the fact that they were not served a copy of the terms of reference. They had issues with the fact that a transcript of the purported leaked audio had not been served on them, and for that matter, their client. They also indicated that to them there was a clear breach of natural justice considerations because two of the members had publicly made prejudicial comments before the committee could even begin its hearing. These members in question are MP for Busa South, James Agalga, and MP for Wa West, Superintendent retired Peter Lanchini Tobu. The chairman of the committee, Samuel Atachia, overruled these objections and indicated that they could tender in any evidence that they had while the committee proceeds with its work. Indeed, they indicated that they would tender in audio evidence to that effect. In relation to the probe itself, the questioning began, and COP George Alex Mensah indicated that even though he could recognize parts of his voice on the leaked tape, the tape had been doctored and parts of the tape played were edited.
Mr. Chair, what I admit as correct is that I had a meeting with Mr. Bugri-Naabu, but we didn't have any plan to remove the IGP because I don't remove IGP and I don't appoint IGP. The audio that I listened here today is edited version of the conversations that we had. And because of that, wholly, this audio that we listened is not genuine.
He also told the committee that on authority, he was unhappy, and many senior police officers are unhappy with the way the current IGP, Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, the way he's leading the police service, and he put it on record that he's not managing the police service well, and members of the committee could go ahead to do their own independent checks.
I will not deny that fact today, tomorrow, or the next day. I will make that statement again. That the current Inspector General of Police is not managing the police service well. It's something I will not run away from. I will say it everywhere, anywhere that I go. And you can do your own investigations, call police officers underground, and find out from them.
During the interrogation of Superintendent Emmanuel JB, he indicated that he had never met Bugri-Naabu. Chief Bugri-Naabu appeared before the committee on Monday and validated the tape, and that he had no conversation whatsoever with him, and whatever he told the committee on Monday in relation to his part of the audio was far from the truth. The chairman of the committee indicated after the hearing that the committee would grant some space to the submission that COP George Alexander Mensah wants to make in camera. The committee continues with its hearings on Friday. Duke Mensah Opoku, TV3 News, Parliament House, Accra.
In other news tonight, spokesperson of the election committee of the New Patriotic Party, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has said that the party will no longer organize a runoff election on Saturday, the 2nd of September. This follows the decision by the flag-bearer aspirant Boakye Jackson to withdraw from the race, citing a breach of party rules by the National Executive Council. The New Patriotic Party on Wednesday made a decision to limit Saturday's runoff to only council members, a move Mr. Boakye Jackson has described as unconstitutional and errant.
We received a letter from Honorable Boakye Jackson. Same was referred to the party leadership, and a response has been issued. Basically, the party has responded to the concerns raised by Boakye Jackson, and the response is basically that the National Council of the party acted within the confines of the Constitution and that there's no cause for alarm. He having withdrawn from the race I think that the Saturday elections now is placed on ice. It becomes otious. There's no need for any elections because now we have 5. Those who had issues that we invited them, they came, we heard them. As to other matters, I'm unable to get into that. But we as a committee have a mandate to look into all concerns relating to the elections, and that is what we did today.
The Right to Information Commission is hosting a week-long celebration to raise public awareness and visibility of RTI laws, acknowledging persistent challenges by state institutions to comply. My colleague Judith Awachitando has more.
In March, the Right to Information Commission fined 13 state institutions 1 million Ghana cedis for failing to release requested information under RTI law. The Ghana National Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service and the Lands Commission were fined. The Police Service has the most pending petitions, but the Commission still receives complaints about difficulties in obtaining information from the service.
For us to go ahead and sanction the Police Service is a step in the right direction. It is not going to happen overnight. It's been done in other countries. Even those who started years ago are still struggling to get institutions to comply with these things. So we believe that with your help, and if you continue with your support, in about 3, 4, 5, 6 years' time, you see a different media landscape. We are going to have difficulties, no doubt. But we're doing our best. We are going according to the law. And we can only use the law to implement the law.
The Commission still faces challenges in its 3 years of operations.
Challenges because not many institutions believe that they are public institutions. So we have challenges where some institutions that are public institutions have said that they are not public institutions. And so there is some contention between us and them. But the courts will decide that. So when it happens like that, there is a court that we can go to make them understand that they are public institutions as the Act defines a public institution.
The Commission says it has implemented measures to assist journalists seeking information from institutions.
So by the time you don't get the information and you don't come back to us because you feel you have reported to us, you have levied penalties and you think that nothing is happening. But if you come back to us, then it behoves on us to make sure that they give you the information like we have instructed them to, so we'll follow up on it. But if you don't come back to us, there's no way we know that you haven't gotten the information.
The Commission's week-long celebration is on the theme, the importance of online space for access to information. Judith Awachitando, TV3 News.
And some former military officers have been eulogizing Major Kojo Boakye Jan, retired, who died at the 37 Military Hospital on August 30 at the age of 81. The late soldier was one of the architects of the June 4 uprising.
Begat the electoral democracy of Liman. Now he happened to be overthrown 31st December, and our laws and the constitutional provisions are clearly against that.
Kojo Boakye Jan was a journalist with the Daily Graphic newspaper. He was recruited into the army, attached to the public relations section. He later joined the military intelligence and then to the 5th Infantry Battalion, where he and 3 others masterminded the June 4, 1979 uprising. An ex-military captain, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklu, says their action brought change to the country.
The idea was to disengage the military from running the country, because by then the military was in charge of almost everything. We had officers who were sent to various corporations, who had the corporations. They also tried their best to bring accountability.
He charged young people, particularly those in politics, to learn from what happened 30 years ago.
People, especially young people, who these days think through politics, they can make money. They must think about it twice. Definitely, they one day have to account for it. The soldiers, they are watching. They are part of us. I'm not saying that there should be a military coup, no. The most dangerous one is the upheaval of the populace itself. Our leaders should be sincere. We must have leaders who respect the people.
Brigadier General Nunu Mensah, retired, described him as a Democrat.
He and Rawlings fell apart and never reconciled until both of them have now died and gone away peacefully. He came back to Ghana and tried to do politics. I remember very well, he tried to stand in his constituency, something which I also did. We don't believe that if soldiers want to do politics, they should take up the gun against a constitutional government. But they should put down a uniform and then, get into politics. He wasn't a professional soldier as such, but he did, I believe, what I call short service commission to serve in the armed forces. So I remember him for his opposition to military rule.
He urged leaders to manage state affairs to prevent military takeovers.
Those in power too, when you vote them to power, they should run the affairs of the state such that soldiers don't have any excuse to come intervene in politics. The problem with Niger and Burkina Faso, now Gabon, is not to be solved, by force. You will not solve it. You will just find out what the hell is going on, sit down with them and talk, so that we have a political role for those who are doing politics, not for soldiers as such.
Major Kojo Boachejan died at the 37 Military Hospital on August 30 at age 81.
You're watching News 360. Still to come in the bulletin, the minority in Parliament says it will not only go ahead with its September 5 protest to remove the Bank of Ghana governor, but also call for his prosecution. We'll bring you more after this break.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Choose Sukasa for the highest quality, luxurious townhouses in East Lagoon Hills. 2, 3, and 4 bedroom in a gated community starting at $40,000 in Accra, Ghana. Sukasa, building on trust.
Who no like chop money? They what chop money is here. Collect your chop money every morning at 10 a.m. by simply dialing *446# and select option 2 to play Day 1 539 chop money. Win 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3, and 20 times your stake with Direct 1. You can also pay your numbers to win big. You only pick your numbers from 1 to 39, so winning is easy. Dial *446# to play Day 1 539 chop money now. Dewa, have fun!
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, SoftCare always stays with you.
New SoftCare Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
SoftCare. Protect your leap.
Betway is your gateway to a theme park full of gaming excitement. A whirlpool of wonder where your favorite games come to life. where you can take to the skies with max payouts that reach into the millions. All in the palm of your hand. Visit betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly.
Welcome back to News 360. Before we go to business, though, the minority in Parliament is advocating for the prosecution of the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, citing concerns over alleged mismanagement. These NDC members of Parliament are demanding accountability and transparency in the country's financial leadership. My colleague Noble Crosby Annan was at their forum and reports.
The minority is determined to continue the Occupy BOG protest on September 5 to pressure the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, and his deputies to resign amid allegations of mismanagement. Despite concerns about public safety by the police, the minority remains steadfast in its course. Addressing a public forum on the theme, The Collapse of Bank of Ghana, a reflection of failed leadership, organized by Arise Ghana, Boko Central MP and Deputy Ranking Member of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, Mahama Yariga, emphasized that resignations alone are not enough to address the collapse of the Bank of Ghana.
That any person who contravenes a provision of the Act has committed an offense, and upon summary conviction, the person is to suffer not less than 500 penalty units or not less than 2 years, no more than 2 years imprisonment. So the offense is clear. He hasn't denied it. The punishment is clearly defined. At any time in his life, he can be subjected to prosecution, whether this government does it or not. I mean, I demand that the Office of Special Prosecutor should look into the procurement issue.
Minority Leader Dr. Kaisla Tufosing alleged that the Bank of Ghana mismanagement worsens extreme poverty, emphasizing urgency for change.
All of us should be worried because ultimately the Ghanaian taxpayer would be required to recapitalize the Bank of Ghana. Their reckless mismanagement of the central bank also resulted in a loss of 60.8 billion Ghana cedis, causing a negative equity of 55.1. We, the minority in Parliament, do not believe that those who caused the mess at the Bank of Ghana, Addison the printer and his 2 deputy printers, are capable of fixing this mess that they created themselves.
Adding his perspective, political commentator Kwesi Pratt Jr. raised concerns about the purported independence of the Bank of Ghana, calling into question its autonomy.
This nonsense, absolute nonsense, of the independence of the Bank of Ghana and its governor and so on must be thrown into the waste paper basket, must be thrown into the dustbin. It has no relevance to our history.
While the police is seeking an injunction to prevent the protest, the minority remains optimistic that the legal efforts to halt their demonstration will be unsuccessful. Noble Crosby Annan, TV3 News, Accra.
This segment is brought to you by MTN, Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Hello there, welcome to the business segment here on News 360. My name is Michael Obodu. Straight into our first story, as in a bid to improve its productivity, the cocoa processing company CPC is seeking a loan support to the tune of $87 million from the Afrexim Bank. According to the company, the facility will help eliminate its current challenges as well as enhance revenues and profits. This was made known at the CPC's annual general meeting. The following report has the details.
Cocoa Processing Company CPC in 2020 appealed to President Akufo-Addo to help it deal with a legacy debt of $87 million it owed Cocoa Board. In 2022, the company and Cocoa Board agreed on a debt equity swap in order for it to unlock the Afrexim Bank facility. Speaking at the AGM, Chairman of CPC, Kweku Owusuba, said the loan is critical to improving cocoa beans processing from the current 13,097 metric tons.
We had a meeting with the Minister of Agri, and among the other things,
He also reminded us about this, that SOEs may not be allowed to borrow. But we also reminded him about the ongoing Afrexim Bank thing. And he asked us to go on with it, I think the processes. So it's not lost yet. It's delayed because our net worth was not in a position for Afrexim Bank to take a decision to give us the money. Now that way is cleared, and hopefully the process will move faster.
Meanwhile, Acting Managing Director of CPC, Dr. Frank Edu-Asante, expressed optimism that his outfit was on the path to recovery, with some initiatives being embarked upon.
The new spread factory, which I'm sure you have seen, which has already been test run, will be fully operational in the coming year. Again, 7 out of 10 new packaging machines for the packing of various sizes of our drinking cocoa and confectionery products will be fully operationalized. A new 3 metric ton per hour coarse and fine milling machine to process a minimum of 25,000 metric tons of beans will be installed and commissioned.
Due to some operational losses resulting from the challenges faced CPC, the company says it is unable to pay dividends to its shareholders for the 2021-2022 financial year.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has arrested 8 shop owners and closed 2 shops following their enforcement exercise on the issuance of VAT invoices. Assistant Commissioner of the Accra Area Enforcement Team, Joseph Annan, is encouraging business owners who have not registered for VAT to do so or face the law. The Compliance and Enforcement Unit visited 10 retail facilities within Osu and East Legon as part of their test purchase exercise.
Tropical Enclave, they are doing non-issuance of the invoice. That is the infraction. Then we went to Golden Crystal, and then they are issuing their own invoice. It's the same non-issuance. Then we went to Hilton View Hotel. They are not registered. Brands Less for Kids, they are not registered. We came to Party Tree, then Lupita Collection. Then we came to Limpa Fabrics and Accessories. They are also not registered. And then we are at Precious Fabrics, then Sheets and Towels Enterprise. They are also not registered.
The Compliance and Enforcement Team of the Ghana Revenue Authority, as part of its second phase of monitoring, paid unannounced visits to some retail shops, proven to have defaulted in issuing VAT invoices, with some registered or not registered. Assistant Commissioner of the Enforcement Team, Joseph Annan, says the authority is working to show up the revenue levels of the country.
As we went to just a small area and you realize that many of them are not registered, it's an issue we need to tackle. So what we have to do is, every area has our office, what we call the TSC, who are responsible for the area. So what we need to do is to probably get the TSC, who is responsible for East Legon, to really lace its boots so that they will make sure that things are done and are done well.
Countries sharing boundaries with the sea boast of a vibrant blue economy, but dwindling fish stock is having negative effects on both local and national economies. A lecturer at the Department of Marine and Fisheries Science at the University of Ghana, Dr. Edem Mahu, agrees an effective close season here in Ghana should coincide with that of other ECOWAS countries.
Considering the fact that fish are transboundary resources, they are very mobile. They move from one region to the other. And so that is number one. So if you are closing the fishery in Ghana, it doesn't mean that you are locking the sea or something only in Ghana. They will be able to move to other parts of the region or within the Gulf of Guinea. And so if we are doing this in solo, we might not be able to get effective the impact that we ought to create, because we are just looking at one country. So we need to really expand this to other countries. We need to expand this to the neighboring countries and make sure that we are doing this together. That way, the impact will even be bigger and better. It just means that we need to talk more with our neighbors. We need to work together, and that can be done.
And that will be all for the business segment here on News 360. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for watching. As always, please stay safe. Up next, the sports.
You are your own person, unique, one of a kind, special. That's why you deserve everything tailored to suit your particular taste, your preference, your needs. Just like MTN Just For You. You can get customized offers tailored to who you are. Dial *141# or use the MyMTN app to get to choose from a variety of offers made just for you.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family because every smile matters.
New Pepsodent Herbal. Introducing a unique combination of herbal extracts in an antibacterial toothpaste for strong teeth and healthy gums that protects your family and you. Every smile matters.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302-200-390 or 059-692-0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
Sports segment is brought to you by Bell Pack Tissues.
Hello, good evening, and it's time for us to bring you the latest thing in the world of sports right here on News 360 with me, Thierry Nyan, and English Premier League giants Manchester United will take on Bundesliga winners Bayern Munich, Copenhagen and Galatasaray in Group A of the UEFA Champions League in the coming season. Now, PSG and Borussia Dortmund are in Group F, which can be categorized as the group of death alongside last year's semi-finalist AC Milan and Newcastle United, who returned to the competition for the first time in 20 years. The competition's record winners Real Madrid came out of Pot 2 to be placed alongside with Serie A holders and also Braga and Union Berlin from Germany, making up the quartet in Group C. Last year's finalists Inter Milan were in the second pot and went into Group D, where they will encounter Portuguese champions Benfica, Austria's RB Salzburg and Real Sociedad. Defending champions Manchester City are not left out of it. They have it relatively straightforward in Group G with Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade and then Young Boys. Now, Manchester City's Erling Haaland has won the PFA Men's Player of the Year award. Haaland beats teammates Kevin De Bruyne and John Stones, and Arsenal's, also Tottenham's Harry Kane, now at Bayern Munich. This is what he had to say after winning.
Yeah, of course, I feel good. What more can I say? I won the treble. This was my dream when I was young, so to be able to do this together with my teammates is something special, of course, so I'm really happy, and it also gives me so much motivation to keep on working, to achieve more of the trophy that just stood there, and of course these are also really nice. So so yeah, it's free motivation, and I'm so happy.
Now, with a day left to the end of the European transfer window, some big football stars are on the move to new clubs. Here is your 3 Sports transfer up for today.
Leicester City have announced the signing of Ghanaian winger Abdul Fattah Issahaku. The 19-year-old joins the Foxes on loan from Portuguese giant Sporting Lisbon. Aston Villa have completed the signing of Barcelona centre-half Clement Lenglet. Lenglet returns to the Premier League after playing for Tottenham last season. Barcelona winger Ansu Fati is on his way to Brighton to complete his medical following a loan agreement between Barcelona and Brighton. The Premier League side are expected to cover 80% of Fati's salary as the transfer window nears its end. Liverpool are making positive steps in the signing of Bayern midfielder Ryan Gravenberch after accelerating talks with the German side. The Bundesliga holders are open to releasing the player but must find his replacement before the transfer window ends. The German side have also accelerated talks for Joao Paulinho from Fulham as they seek a permanent transfer. The Premier League side aim to keep their star midfielder, but an important bid may force their hand. Lyon winger Bradley Barcola has completed a medical test and is set to sign a 5-year contract at PSG. The 20-year-old joins Dembele and Mbappe in the wide areas.
And on that note, we're bringing an end to the sports here on News 360. My name is Thierry. We're going to bring you some more sports subsequently right here on TV3. Entertainment is next.
Mami Musa was sembiansa. Mon networks are mu use no. Embrahin and I'm recharge ya. Munyam faso everyone so. Ah, mabwa, kapre. Wey. And that's what you madi. Muntian kabo di through. Vodafone say every Saturday kwe. A brevia over recharge from 5 cities El Cobiano. Assigned with seeking up to 20% amount back cash. Our Vodafone cash so. It shock you? What did you hear say? Over recharge. Say my Vodafone app. Vodafone cash. Credit transfer. Short code. MOBIA. Uladia.
Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana Cedi or more in Vodafone's demo promotion and receive up to 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone demo promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's harmony in nature everywhere around. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water. One for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water. GTP, still timeless. Vodafone, further together. And powered by 3 Entertainment.
Welcome back to News 360 on TV3, and time now for entertainment. Hello, Anita.
Hi, Martin.
What's
Hi,
going
Aisha.
on
Hi.
in the world of entertainment?
So there's a big one coming up in the event space. So that's the Africa Event Awards. It used to be the Ghana Event Awards.
Nice.
Yeah,
so we broadened it.
Exactly. We're going global, maybe.
Yes.
All right. My name is Anita Ikia Ekufuan. Organizers of the annual Africa Event Awards have announced all 20 categories for the 2023 edition, and key among them are Event of the Year, Events DJ and MC of the Year, and Best Event Center on the continent. Notwithstanding all the setbacks, some event organizers were able to pull off some amazing events for the year under review. The annual African Event Awards, which began as Ghana Event Awards, seeks to honor and celebrate indigenous events and organizers for their hard work in the African event space.
The 2023 awards will see industry players recognized in 20 award categories, including African Event of the Year, Event DJ and MC of the Year, and Best Event Center on the continent.
Every initiative that basically seeks to promote the cause of the things we do is solid, is welcome, and ought to be supported. Every concept that basically contributes positively, yes. Going from Ghana to Africa, I like the transition. We pray it gets the best of support because the road is not an easy one.
According to organizers, the initiative is to connect the African event industry to promote tourism.
It doesn't matter which country you are. We need to connect and then associate ourselves with other brands across Africa. If you are an event host, people should know you from Tanzania, where somebody can book you all the way to Ghana. So we are just trying to connect the whole Africa together in terms of our event industry. At the same time, it's tourism. This event is event awards, and then event comes with tourism, because without events, people will not travel to other countries.
Powered by Event Guide Africa, this year's edition of the Africa Event Awards will come off on September 22. And the 16th edition of Gospel Minister Bernard Amankwa's annual concert, Celebration of His Grace, will take place at the National Theatre on September 24, 2023. And themed My Offering, the concert is expected to feature performances from Perez Music, Niso, Kese, Jayana, and singer Jonah Rain. We caught up with Bernard Amankwa at the launch.
As we praise God, the Bible says that God inhabits the praises of his people. And when we offer praises to God, his glory will come down and deliver his people. It doesn't matter the challenges that you are facing. As you walk to the National Theatre, we believe that every chains that has kept you bound, God is going to break those chains and you'll be set free. This year, the theme is My Offering. So this is our offering that we are giving to God and to you. So come join us and let's celebrate together.
And it's still the entertainment news segment, and renowned Nollywood actress Kate Henshaw has reiterated that Nigerian citizens have the right to hold government accountable for unmet promises, and the actress maintained that since politicians offered to serve the country, they must be accountable to the people they govern. Henshaw stated that this is the right way since the citizens are in zombies and have expectations of the leaders based on their pledges. My name is Anita Ikufu. Thanks for your time. Up next is International News. Have a good evening.
More than 70 people have died and more than 50 injured after a fire in South Africa's city of Johannesburg. The 5-story derelict building in the city center was used by homeless migrants from neighboring countries. The fire gutted the building in the early hours of Thursday morning. Officials said bodies were piled up at a locked gate that had prevented them from fleeing the burning building. Witnesses said some people had thrown themselves out of windows. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will meet counterpart Vladimir Putin in Russia's resort of Sochi on September 4 to primarily discuss Black Sea grain export. The leaders will discuss the fallout from the war in Ukraine as well as a deal that allowed the export of Ukrainian grain via the Black Sea. The Black Sea grain deal, brokered by Turkey and the United Nations in 2022, ended after Russia withdrew in July. Ankara has since sought to convince Moscow to return to the agreement.
Remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed this evening and tomorrow morning when you wake up with either Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, Pepsodent Charcoal, Pepsodent Herbal, or Pepsodent Triple Protection. Because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. And that's it for this evening.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you very much for watching. My name is Martin Esiedudate.
And I am Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Good evening.
Pepsodent is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.
This program is brought to you by
MTN Gluta White.